Everybody's Matt Mayoko at NBC Sports Bay Area checking in with a day after game report. Just some thoughts about the 49ers 38-13 victory over the Chicago Bears and just kind of what the future holds. I know a lot of people have been asking about the beanie. I'm wearing this to cover up some bandages, had a procedure last week, wasn't able to go to the game on Sunday, the first 49ers game I've missed, home or away. Other than for COVID reasons, since my first daughter was born in November of 2002. She was born on a Saturday. The 49ers had a game the next day at the Oakland Raiders. And so I was working for the Santa Rosa Press Democrat at the time. So we already had like five people going to that game to cover the 49ers side, the Raiders side, sidebars, columns, all that. So I did not attend that game. That's the last game before this game Sunday that I did not attend. So certainly a different perspective watching it on TV. Also, it spoke with obviously Jennifer Lee Chan after the game for our 49ers Talk podcast. So she was in the locker room. She gave me kind of the color of what the guys were saying afterward. And of course, seeing what Kyle Shanahan had to say as well. This video is brought to you by Canyon Club Brewery. It's a brewery with a wide selection, wide variety of beer styles, also a restaurant with a lot of menu items. I had the street tacos last time I was there. I think my wife had the fish sandwich. We were both quite satisfied. So it's a great place in Moraga, California, and it's coming soon to the Livery in Danville. Okay, so if there's one takeaway from this season to put a positive spin on it, even if the 49ers don't advance to the postseason, it would be that maybe for the first time, well, not, I should say that not for the first time, but I would say they've probably gotten more contributions from their rookie class than any other rookie class in a long, long time. And so that certainly bodes well for the future as far as you always need that kind of mixture of veteran players and young players, guys who are getting paid a lot of money, guys who are on their first contract, and it kind of has to even out in that way. And so, if nothing else, this season has shown that some of those young guys can be very capable players and players who can form the nucleus of the team or at least key portions of the team moving into the future. The one kind of drawback or the one, I don't know, it's always kind of a stumbling block, I think, for a lot of players is, however, I've seen a lot of guys through the years who end their rookie season strong and then they think that and just it's a subconscious thing. They think they have it figured out. They come back for year two and their play drops off dramatically. So that'll be the challenges ahead for some of these 49er draft picks, guys like Renardo Green, Dominic Pooney, Malik Mustafa, guys who have started now a lot of games and will be looked on to be better players next year. And then you have other guys like Ricky Pearsall, who, for obvious reasons, wasn't able to have the kind of rookie season that he would have hoped, that the 49ers would have hoped. I think for a lot of reasons outside of his control. Obviously, the guy got freaking shot a week before the start of the regular season, a through and through wound from the chest out near the armpit. So he missed the first 6 games of the season while on the non-football injury list. And he's still working his way back. 49ers like what they see in him, but other than that game against Tampa Bay, the 49ers haven't seen it, or we haven't seen it much on the playing field. So Ricky Pearsall, also Isaac Guerendo. We'll see what his status is for this game coming up Thursday against the LA Rams. But with Isaac Guerendo's size, speed, power, uh, route running ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, and just his home run hitting ability. He has a chance to be a player for this team down the road. So we shall see how he's able to finish this season. He left the game on Sunday with a foot sprain, so the 49ers hope that he'll be available for this game Thursday against the LA Rams. Oh, by the way, If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do that now. I'd like to see those numbers get around 10,000. I think we're in the mid 8,000s right now. So let's see if we can keep those numbers going up. The one point about kind of I want to call it the new guard, but let's just think about where the 49ers roster is and just how they need some of their young guys. They need some fresh faces to make a mark and make a contribution. And I found it very interesting that with the 49ers season really kind of on the brink as it remains there with a 6-7 record, 4 games to play in the season. They're still in the playoff hunt, kind of, but man, a lot of is going to have to go right for them to get back in there and make the postseason for the fourth time in 4 seasons, for the fifth time in 6 seasons. So what Kyle Shanahan did on Saturday night is, a lot of times he'll have the veteran guys speak to the team. And just think about the veteran leadership of this 49ers team. It's been the nucleus of their team for several years now. The 49ers elected 8 captains before the start of the regular season. Those 8 captains, and I'll touch on each one of them as I say it. Nick Bosa, he's missed the last 3 games with a hip and oblique injury. No guarantee he'll be back out there Thursday against the Rams. Christian McCaffrey missed the first 8 games of the season with the Achilles injuries. Now he's out for the year with the knee injury, but he should be back in 2025, should be ready to go for the offseason program. Trent Williams missed the last 3 games with an ankle injury. No guarantee he'll be out there on Thursday. Deebo Samuel, who everybody thought around the team he was going to have a big season. It just hasn't happened. Just the yards aren't there in the running game. The yards after the catch aren't there in the passing game. So Deebo Samuel not having the kind of year that he wanted to have, and certainly a lot of people around the team thought he would have. By the way, I did address Deebo Samuel's contract situation and what I think his future is with the team. I did that on Sunday morning, so check that video out. Let me just tell you that I think that because of his contract situation, not scheduled to make much money at all next year, I think he'll be back, and I think he'll play out the final year of his contract, and all the onus will be on him to have a big year to try to get one more bite at the apple as far as a multi-year contract with some team. If it's not the 49ers, he's got to prove to some other team that he's worthy of a big contract. Another captain, Fred Warner, has maintained that captain role, but has been playing on a bum ankle since week 4. Kyle Juszczyk, a guy that the 49ers went to ask if he would take a pay cut in the offseason. He accepted it. He's back as a captain. We'll see what his status is with the team beyond this year. And then the final 2 captains, George Kittle, who is just Mr. Consistency, putting his name up there at the top of the list of tight ends as far as an all-timer in the NFL. And then the 8th team captain, Brock Purdy, one of the lowest paid players on the team, one of the most important players on the team, if not the most important player on the team. And he came through with a big game on Sunday against the Bears, basically a perfect first half as the 49ers jumped out to a huge lead in that game. Brock Purdy, obviously his breadth of work from taking over in 2022 through all of last season and now up to this point, not having the kind of year this season statistically that he had last year, but still a passer rating just a shade below 100 and lining himself up to be one of the highest paid players in the league in the offseason. His contract is due. The 49ers can start negotiations as soon as the 49ers season is over. I would expect Kyle Strongen, his agent, and the 49ers to get together on that soon, because I don't think that this is a situation they want dragging on through the offseason. Certainly nothing like the Brandon Ayuk situation that I think really had an impact on the team. Maybe it had an impact on Brandon Ayuk as well as far as his performance early in the season. He wasn't producing, just seemed off. He hadn't caught a pass from Brock Purdy since the week of the Super Bowl in practice or in the Super Bowl. So it only goes to reason that he was off when the season started, wasn't producing, and then he sustains the season-ending injury. So as far as Brock Purdy goes, Kyle Shanahan did something interesting on Saturday night, the team meeting at the team hotel before the home game. He asked Brock Purdy and Diamador Lenore to speak to the team. And why this is important, I think, is because these two guys are going to be around a long time. They're kind of this next wave of 49ers stars. And Purdy's already established himself as a star. I mean, he was the, Pro Bowl starter in the NFC last year, finished fourth in the NFL MVP voting. So it's not like he's just, his breakout season. In fact, his season, like I mentioned, statistically, he's taken a bit of a dip down. But Brock isn't necessarily known as somebody who is, super verbose or puts himself out there as far as, grabbing guys by the face mask or giving rah-rah speeches, but he does have a very good sense of leadership skills. It's a skill that he developed as a four-year starter at Iowa State, and the way he carries himself. I just remember, when he stepped in as a rookie, the veterans immediately took to him just because of the way he carries himself. It's not what he says, but it's how he acts and how he performs on the field, more importantly. And so he had some words for the team. Also, Diamador Lenore. And this is a guy that is kind of in that same mold as well, where he has performed very well and he earned the big contract extension during this year. And so these are two guys who are going to be around for a long time. And at least that's the way the 49ers have constructed their roster. Uh, Lenore got his big contract, so he'll be around. Purdy will get his big contract in the offseason. And so it's just kind of interesting with so many of the leaders, so many of the veteran guys not making an impact on the field right now due to injuries or maybe in the case of Debo Samuels, just kind of underperforming, and we don't know exactly what's going on with Debo. I theorized on the podcast that is it possibly still feeling the effects from the pneumonia? I don't know, but something just seems to be off. Or maybe it's just as simple as there's just not room to run when he gets the ball out of the backfield or on the jet sweeps. I mean, watching the game on Sunday, not many yards to be had, and it just didn't seem like he had the opportunities as far as the holes go. So, the 49ers coming off this victory, snaps a three-game losing streak. Big win against the Bears. I just wanted to check out the PFF numbers to see how those guys graded out, how PFF graded the offensive and defensive players. And it is interesting because of some of the names, some of the young guys that you see who had good games on Sunday. Granted, it was against the Chicago Bears right now on a 7-game losing streak, and they looked horrible on Sunday. Or did the 49ers look really good? Probably a combination of both of those things. But the top graded player for the 49ers offense, Dominic Pooney, guy that figures to be a stalwart on that offensive line for a long time. Whether he stays at right guard remains to be seen. Is he so good? Will they move him to the spot where they need him most? That'll be interesting to see what the plan is for Pooney. Or do they just say, "You got it. You're solid at right guard. You're producing at right guard. You're one of the best right guards in the game. Stay at right guard." That's a conversation for another day. George Kittle had a big game, a leader on the team. And so he was the second ranked 49ers offensive player, according to PFF, followed by Brock Purdy, who kind of backed up his words with a strong performance. Also, Jake Brendel had a really good game at center, someone who has probably been, of the five offensive linemen, the fifth offensive lineman at center. So, will the 49ers look to upgrade from Jake Brendel in the offseason? I I think they will try to get kind of the successor in at center, just like they did with Pooney at guard. It just turned out that the 49ers needed Pooney. He stepped into the lineup and then they couldn't get him out of there. Juwan Jennings signed a 2-year extension before the season starts, so he's under contract for one more year, and he has turned into the 49ers' best wide receiver. Jalen Moore, stepping in for Trent Williams, has really done a good job, and it seems to have clicked in his fourth year in the league. He's the 49ers swing tackle, and he might be playing himself off the 49ers because with the film that he's putting out there, perhaps there will be a team in the NFL that looks at him and says he's better than the two guys we have starting a tackle. Let's sign him to a starter caliber deal. So Jalen Moore, perhaps making himself a little money as he steps in and plays very well for Trent Williams. And then there's Isaac Guerendo. Guerendo is a guy that he just needs to stay healthy. And that was something that haunted him in college. 5 years at Wisconsin, 1 year at Louisville. He had a difficult time battling injuries, and right now he's battling the foot injury. But he certainly showed a little bit of everything in the game against the Bears. So Guerendo rated as the seventh highest graded 49ers offensive player in this game. Okay, so now let's swing over to the defense, and you'll see a similar pattern where it really was kind of the young guys stepping up. And this guy's not a young guy, but he has certainly played better as the season gone on. That is Devondre Campbell. Now that Dre Greenlaw is ready, or could be ready to play Thursday night against the Rams, we'll see what that means for Devondre Campbell because the second highest rated 49ers player in this game was D Winters. And so that's a big thing for the 49ers is we don't know what the future holds for Dre Greenlaw as far as he will be scheduled for unrestricted free agency. Is some coach who knows him well, someone like, oh, I don't know, D'Amico Ryans, might he want the Texans to go after Dre Greenlaw in free agency? Well, if that happens, then D Winters, it appears, heading into his third year, which would be 2025, maybe has shown that he can step in and line up alongside Fred Warner and be a productive inside linebacker. The third ranked defensive player for the 49ers in this game, according to PFF, was Renardo Green. He will be a starter next season. That's very important that he matches up. You know, he will be the starter alongside Diamador Lenore, and then we'll see if the 49ers add a nickel back or their third cornerback in those nickel situations, be an outside guy with Lenore sliding inside to play nickel back like he has all of this season. The fourth ranked guy, Talanoa Hufanga. I got to admit, I was a little bit surprised that he went from injured reserve straight back into the starting lineup. I don't think that bodes well for Jair Brown, who was bumped from the starting lineup after starting the end of last season, his rookie year, and all of this season. The 49ers have decided that their two best safeties right now are Hufanga and Malik Mustafa. So that was interesting. I don't know what it says about Jair Brown, but I think it does open the door if Hufanga does not return as an unrestricted free agent for the 49ers to spend a first or second day draft pick, probably a second day draft pick on maybe a true free safety type of player, maybe a player who has the ability to slide inside and cover the slot, play nickel back in those nickel situations. So Hufanga, he ranks as the fourth highest graded player from this game. Diamador Lenore, again, just like Brock Purdy, he spoke the word Saturday night. He produced on Sunday. So that's a very big deal. And then Malik Mustafa, where he is a rookie finishing the season strong, basically, in essence, beating out Jair Brown to be one of the top two safeties on the team. Huge for Malik Mustafa to come through then with a big game when the 49ers give him a vote of confidence to step in there. So very interesting. Safeties have been up and down this season, but on Sunday against the Bears, against Caleb Williams, the safeties played very well. And then the last one is interesting because I did notice him really for the first time this season making some plays in the run game, also getting a little bit of pressure on the quarterback, Robert Beal. He played 20 snaps in this game, and that's a key because he's somebody that needs to continue to develop. And the 49ers haven't gotten anything really out of Drake Jackson. He's been injured. He was the 49ers top pick a couple years ago. And so for next year, it's all about the rotational pieces on the defensive line. And Robert Beal has a chance now. If he continues to progress, it puts the 49ers in a much better situation on the defensive line when you consider, other young guys like Sam Okawanu, Evan Anderson, the defensive tackle, undrafted rookie. And then to go along with the older guys who should be coming back, Nick Bosa, uh, Leonard Floyd, Yetur Gross-Matos. Gross-Matos had a big game against the Bears, and then Malik Collins, Jordan Elliott. So I think the 49ers need one more dynamic pass rusher. I'm not sure that Beal is that guy, but when you look ahead to the offseason, specifically the draft, if the 49ers are selecting somewhere in the middle of the first round, that would be an area, all things being equal, where I would think the 49ers would want to address their outside pass rushing, just try to get somebody who can bring a little bit more. On the bright side, both Floyd and Gross Matos are signed not only for obviously for the rest of this season, but for 2025 as well. So you would think that those guys will be back. So maybe just a minor tweak, some alterations, an influx of a player or two, and the 49ers defensive line uh, could be in a position next year where it can help the team win a lot of games and be part of the solution and not part of the problem. All right, so that's my kind of look at the game. One day later, 49ers beat the Chicago Bears. Still a lot of work to do to get back into the hunt or to make a run for this thing as far as the potential, slim, but there's still a chance. That playoff door is not completely closed, but certainly a quick week. And I plan on being there Thursday night at Levi Stadium. Hope to be back out there for all of our NBC Sports Bay Area coverage. And thanks for watching this video. Subscribe, like, comment, and that is it for now.